Hi crafters, welcome back and thanks for joining me today. This is Jonna with Purple Girl Crafts. Today we are going to make this Aztec card. So on the back I put an extra piece you can write on. As you can see, this is not fully open. It is a display card. It'll stand up very nicely. It is a 3D card. On the turkey and the bull and the apples I drew. And it's just a really fun card to make. And I did have some requests, so let's get started. So the first thing we need is our scoreboard. And for our base piece, this is going to be cut at 11 by 5.5. We are going to turn this back on the 11-inch side, and we're going to score this at 1/2 and 5 3/4. Okay, next we're going to grab a pencil, and we are going to make some markings on here. So we're going to mark this at 3 inches on top and bottom, and I'm just doing a very light mark, and 8.5. So that's what you should have so far, just your 2 markings on each side and then your 2 score marks. So we're going to score this from the corner to the corner where you scored it, not to the edge of the paper, to that score line. So on the first one, it'll be a diagonal score. You're going to go from the top down to the bottom again to that score mark. Then we're going to take and we're going to line up those 2 first marks that we made on both sides, again diagonal. So we're going to line those up and we're going to score it again. Then we're going to flip the paper, go from end to end, again to the score mark to the end, and then those 2 marks that we made at the 3 and the 8.5 inch mark. And this is what you should end up with. If you want now, you can go ahead and erase your pencil marks so you don't see those. Next, we need 1 piece, and this is going to be cut at 5.5 by 2.5, and we're going to score this at 1/2 and 1.5. And that would be for the base of the card. Then we need 1 piece, or you can do 2 if you want an extra for the back. This is a 5-inch square, and then a layer piece of 4 3/4 inch square. And we are going to do some markings on these. So you're going to want to mark this on the first piece, and this is the base piece, or the mat. You're going to mark this at 2.5, and you're going to do this on all 4 sides. So do top and bottom, and then flip it and do it again. So mark it at 2.5. For the next piece, this piece we are going to, I'm turning it upside down so you can see it. We're going to mark this at 2 3/8. Making sure I get this marked right. And then I'm going to flip it and do the same thing, 2 3/8. Okay, so we don't need our scoreboard for right now, so we're going to move that out of the way. And we are going to grab our trimmer, and we're going to cut these couple of pieces. And these will be for the mat and layer on the card. So we're going to take this, and you're going to cut from one of the middle marks, and it doesn't matter which side, down to the corner. And I'm lifting up the blade just so it doesn't rip my paper on the end. So you should have that piece. Then what you're going to do is you're going to cut from the corner down to that next mark that you made. Again, I'm lifting up my blade, making sure those marks are lined up on the cutting line, and then I'm just going to cut those. And this is what you should end up with. So you're going to flip your paper, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to cut from corner down to that center mark that you made. So this is the piece you should have now. And then again, we're going to cut from that center point that we have on the piece down to that edge. Again, lift your blade so you don't rip your corner. So when I put these all back together, this is what you should have. So we're going to do the same thing with the pattern paper. We're going to line up just one of those center marks at that 2 3/8 mark, and we're going to cut down to the corner of the paper. Again, I'm just making sure it's lined up before I do it. And then you're going to take that extra piece that you have still on there, line up that mark to the corner of the card again. So you're getting a triangle shape and then the weird shape. Let's just call it a weird shape. So this is what you should have so far. So you're going to cut one more, and you're going to cut from corner to corner. I'm just turning it upside down because that's where I marked it. So I'm going to go from that corner to that middle mark. And then again, without really lifting the paper, I'm just going to line these up so you can see. We're going to cut that last piece. So we're going to cut it from that mark that we made on the paper down to the corner. And those are all the pieces that you need. So let's move our trimmer out of the way. And we're going to start with the card base. So right now I'm just going to show you where all these are going to go. So the tan pieces will be on the bottom. And then it's almost like a puzzle putting this together. So you want the 2 corner pieces on the top. You're not going to put anything on the front of it. You're going to put these on the back side because these will, when this card is folded, they will show forward and you'll see the pattern. So I'm just going to move these off just because we put them together so I can keep them lined up with each other. And we'll glue those in a little bit. So we're going to fold the card right now. So you're going to take the first 1/2 inch tab that we did, just going to fold that in. And then we're going to start folding this. Now you can start with the outsides, but it's easier just to go ahead and do that center mark. So the card will be folded in half and should line up with that little ledge that you made on that 1/2 inch mark. And then you just want to fold these. Now I'm going to fold these front and back, and I'm starting with the smaller ones first. It just makes it easier. I'm going to crease it out. I'm going to flip it and do the smaller one first. Crease it out. And then I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to fold it the other way just to help that paper have a little bit more give. Then you want to take your longer pieces and fold those, and you just have to slowly work the paper. Don't force it, and it should fold as long as you've got that score mark in there. And then we'll do the last side. And this is what you should have. So as you start to put this together, you'll see you'll push those in. And the easiest way to do it is just to lay it flat or lay it down, push those in, and then just lay the other one on top. And then just go ahead and just crease those out and make sure they're all lined up. Just give them an extra good crease. So that is the card so far. And that is the base of the card. So next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue the layers on. This piece, let's fold that first. So that's going to be a valley and then a mountain fold. And this is going to get attached to the base of the card for it to have a stand. So there's 2 ways you can do this, and as you can see on my hair, I'm just laying this down because you're going to cut the excess pieces off. But we'll do that in a minute. Let's go ahead and do our layers first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab my quick grab glue. We're going to glue the pieces, the layers on top of the mats. And again, you want to put the one for the front, and then you want to glue the triangles on that same side. And then you want to glue the remaining pieces on the back side of the card because it will show on the front when it's sitting up. Okay, so I've glued all those down, and this is what you should have right now. Just got a little bit of glue on there, so I'm going to erase that off. Okay, now for the base piece of the card. You can do this either way. You can glue this down, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this on so you can see it's going to hang over a little bit, and we want to cut that little bit off. So I'm going to just lay this on here, just on the top of it, line it up so that I know this is hard to see because it's brown on brown, but we're going to just mark where that extra hangs over, and we're going to cut that off. You're going to do that on both sides, and that's just on that little 1/2 inch lip. So again, I'm just going to cut that off. And then when you glue this, let me move those out of the way. We're going to glue this right to the bottom of the card on the inside. So I'm going to put glue on the flap. And I'm just going to lay this down, start to line it up, and then I'm just going to line it up by putting it to the front of the card and making sure the edges are lined up. Now for the other side, it's a little temperamental, so just open your card, and you're just going to have to glue this down and kind of force it just a little bit. So that extra flap, you're going to take and put glue on that, and that'll be the original flap that you had, that we had scored, and you're going to glue it to the other side. So you just want to kind of like lay this out so it's flat, and then glue it down. And then again, make sure your edges are lined up. And then you're going to want to cut these pieces off again, and this is just on the other side of it. So we did the one side, now this is the final side, and we're just going to cut those 2 little extra pieces off. And again, just make sure that this is all creased out so that it'll open nice and stay standing. And if you have any extra glue, go ahead and remove it. Okay, now I also have another piece, and again, this is the 5 by 5. I just did the same thing. I did an extra piece because I used the brown cardstock. I wanted something lighter so that I had a place to write a message when I send the card. And then I'm just going to glue this to the back side. And it does match the same color as the other mats that are on the card. Now for the embellishments, I've got my turkey. This is one that I hand drew, and he's cooking something. And I also cut out with R Memory Keepers label maker, or the printmaker. I cut out what's cooking and then Happy Thanksgiving. And I'm going to put one on the front and one on the back. So for the what's cooking, I think we're going to put the turkey all the way down at the bottom. And then we're just going to put the what's cooking up on top above his head. So we'll just put that right there. The other card I made was a Halloween card, if you had seen that on my Instagram post. So then I also have some apples that I drew extra that I'm going to put at the bottom just to give it just a little bit of decoration. All right, so we're going to glue these together. And again, I'm just using scrap paper for the wording. Use as many of your scraps as you possibly can when you're doing it, because no one's going to see it. And then for the turkey, I think we're going to add some foam dots just to give him just a little bit of height. This card is very light. It's not going to cost extra weight on there. So we're going to put him down and move all of the backing of the foam. And I'm just going to make sure he's in the center and then just push him down. And then since I put foam on him, I'm also going to put foam on the what's cooking. So I'm just going to grab a couple of these And I'm just going to line them up on the top. So I'm going to see where I want to put this, and then I'm just going to sit them right in the center on there. Just makes it so much easier. And then I'm just going to pop these off. If they will come off. And then we'll just stick that down. It looks good right about there. That way he's got dimension 2 on with the turkey. Then on the back, I'm going to take the same thing. I'm actually going to line it up so it's even with the front embellishment, so the shape matches. We're just going to glue this to the back. I was going to put it on the front, but it's just overcrowded and I don't think it'll look good. So I'm just going to put this right on the back. And I'm just going to put, this time, just a little bit of glue. I'm not going to use the pop dots. And then we're just going to glue this right to the top. And I'm trying to line up the shape with the front. That looks pretty good right there. And then for the final piece, I'm just going to add some of the apples to the very bottom. And I'm just going to use the quick white glue. So that's it. That is the card that we made today. I want to thank you for joining me. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Until next time, happy crafting, and I hope to see you real soon. Bye-bye.